All right, good afternoon, everyone. This is Christopher Kraus. I'm your Embraer Learning and Development Specialist, and welcome to our first in our remote wellness series. Today's session is going to be on soothing stress. So I'm going to introduce our guest speaker in just a minute, but first I'd like to go through some light housekeeping as we do. So Joe, if you could just put it to the next one, thank you. All right, so our housekeeping for today, just a reminder, looks like you all are doing this. Thank you very much, but we definitely want to make sure everyone is muting their microphones and disabling video. We are being recorded today, and this recording is going to be up in Empower on the North America webinar series pathway. You'll be able to see that probably as early as Monday morning. There is a Q&A session at the end of the presentation, so if you would, please make sure to hold questions while we're in the middle of the session. Hold the questions to the end, and we'll have a good, I think, 10 minutes or so for Q&A. I'd like to try using the chat at first, but we'll see if things are going smoothly. We might be able to just open up the speakers, and everybody could just speak through their, speak their questions. And as always, there is a post-session survey. We definitely want to get your feedback today because we'd like to hear what you all would like to see for the next remote wellness webinar series. So with that, I'd like to introduce our guest speaker today, Joe DeMatteis. Joe is our United Healthcare health coach, and we're happy to have him. So welcome, Joe.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you guys for having me. Little quick thank you guys for taking time out of your busy day. I know things are hectic and not what they were, but hopefully we'll get back to reality, sooner than later. But a little bit about myself. I've been a health coach now for 7 years. Been with United Healthcare for 4 years now this month, and been serving the Embraer account for a little over 2 years now. Seems like yesterday I just got brought on board. I was in charge of all the Florida locations, but my colleague Lisa, unfortunately, her husband got relocated, so I'm now covering all of Embraer, at least till the end of the year. So some of you may have, saw me around, worked with me one-on-one, and I'll say this is at the beginning of this quarantine. I think we've all gone through a lot of stress and anxiety. So this is new for me as well, and I've noticed, at the beginning, a lot of extra stress because things I normally was used to doing, going to the beach, the gym, social aspects have been taken away. So I've been forced to kind of adjust. So I'm hoping, this presentation will inform you guys a little bit, and hopefully you'll be able to gain something out of it that you can apply to your life and to your family and friends, and hopefully we can all, benefit from that. So, diving in, soothing stress. A few things I hope that you guys, will learn from this presentation today, or better understanding of what stress is and the causes of it and how it affects our minds, how to utilize a healthy strategy to help manage everyday stress, and some personal strategies that we'll be getting into, and also where to find resources, and who better look for than to turn to United Healthcare and your health coach. So what is stress? Something that we all deal with every day. So stress is our body's response to the demands of everyday living. Causes can be, they just pop up. It can be, physical, whether you're just starting an exercise program. Say you lift weights for the first time, the next day or two, you have what's called delay onset muscle soreness, from breaking down muscle tissue. So you have physical stress. You have psychological stress, family. Maybe you became a new parent lately. Financial, I think, a lot of people, financial is actually the #1 cause of stress. Think of all the individuals who are, working at restaurants and the tourist industry who, are, out of work currently due to this situation. Spiritual, social, academic, the list goes on. Studies show, like I said, financial stress is #1. Our jobs and career fall at #2. Family's #3. And then, health concerns is #4. So stages of stress. So years ago, there was a man by the name of Hans Selye. He was a founder in stress research. And he broke the stress response down into 3 stages, which you may be familiar with, the general adaptation syndrome. So the first stage is the alarm stage. This is when we're frightened or we're under threat. This is our body releasing our stress hormones, such as adrenaline and norepinephrine, and also cortisol. This is our body's fight or flight response. So think of it as if you're driving down the street and you see a child that looks like he's going to ride out in front of the street, in front of you, and you hit the brakes. That's your alarm stage. That's your body frightened, and you have to respond to it. The second stage, this is our resistance stage. This is after the initial reaction that we have. This is when our body tries to adapt to a continued stress. If the stress passes, we build our defenses. So let's use that same example. Someone looks like they're about to run in front of a car, but you really see that they're not, and they stop. And then you have what's called the exhaustion phase. This is the burnout or overload phase. So let's put all these together. Let's say you receive some bad news that you're being furloughed, you're being laid off. That hearing that for the first time is your alarm stage. That's the first reaction. Then your body starts to process it, and you're going into the resistance phase. And when the stress continues, so obviously if you're being let go or furloughed, you have that weight on your shoulder. Now your body starts to feel that exhaustion stage. That's the cortisol levels in your body starting to rise that make you feel fatigued and shortness of breath. So stress, we have 2 types. We have acute, which is short term, which is the example I gave you a minute ago. And then we have chronic. Chronic stress is the response to emotional pressure, suffered for a prolonged period of time over which we have no control over. And here's a list of, so think about this for a minute. What are some symptoms that you experience when you're stressed? I know I tend to get very tense. I tend to forget to breathe, and that's obviously not a good thing. You can have digestive symptoms. You can have headaches. You can be someone that becomes angry or irritable. People that have high blood pressure, it can cause your blood pressure to spike. So, everybody reacts differently. Managing stress. These here, I'll pull these up. These are what we do not want to do. Obviously the first 2 we want to stay away from. Probably the third one, food. I find myself at times to sometimes be an emotional eater. Are you eating because you have low blood sugar and your body's actually hungry? Or are you eating out of emotion because you have things on your mind and you're trying to take your mind off of things? Now, what are some better ways that we can do to relieve stress? Here are some ideas. You can ask, I'll just pull through these so you guys can look at these for just a minute here. I have one more. You can ask for help from family, friends. There's community organizations. Prioritize your tasks. I find that, writing things down for myself helps me manage. Getting organized. You feel good when you tend to declutter, whether you're cleaning up your desk, your house, your car. And at the end of the day, or even week, a lot of us tend to focus on what we didn't get done. Let's give ourselves some credit for the things that we actually did, because, as we know, life's stressful, life's difficult, it's very hard. We don't give ourselves enough credit for the little things that, we could have set aside. Learning to recognize signs that we're stressed, such as, sleeping is a big one, difficulty sleeping. Maybe you're someone that is a cigarette smoker. You find yourself smoking more. Maybe you're easily angered, feeling depressed, having low energy. Either way, talk to people, get help from professionals. Don't forget, you guys have the EAP program. And then, there's a lot of other things you can do that, that you can, help relax yourself, such as, getting a massage, although I doubt many places are open now, but like reading, listening to music, going for walks, those are all things that you can do. So let's talk a little about the benefits of that activity can do to help relieve stress. The exercise in general reduces levels of our body's stress hormones, like I talked about earlier, cortisol. That's the hormone that tends to be elevated when we're stressed. And also adrenaline, norepinephrine, those are our feel-good chemicals. Those are the ones that kick in when we actually, do productive work. it helps stimulate the production of endorphins, which are our body's natural painkillers and mood elevators. Doing activities can help take our mind off of our stress. When you feel better about yourself, the way you look at it, can you reduce your stress? Working out with a partner or doing things in group, having a social support, those are all things that can help. A top stressor for individuals is health. And it can cause isolation, from, family, friends, and activities. It can increase financial stress. Stress produces, the fight or flight chemicals, which we can reduce with exercise. And exercise in the long run can help us, can help us sleep better, help control blood pressure, amongst other things. So what are some types of activities that we could do? And we can all make a list of these, and I'll just pull these up for you guys. So there's different benefits of different types of activities. Aerobic exercise has been shown to decrease overall levels of tension. It can help elevate our mood, improve sleep, like I mentioned, improve self-esteem, the way we look. Even just a few minutes. I noticed, working from home, I'm available from 9 to 5. Every couple hours, I try to just, take 5 minutes and just go outside and walk, just to get some fresh air, just to kind of break things up, just so I don't feel, like a caged animal. Stretching, we have, I can give you guys a handout. We have an excellent, United Healthcare has a 10-minute stretching routine that you can do, at work and at your desk. Just by getting up, it can help, relax tight muscles. It can increase blood flow. It doesn't necessarily have to involve strenuous stuff. Resistance training, I notice a lot of people, just by going on social media, using a lot of resistance bands with the handles that can attach to your door frame. You see people using the different bands. Those can help, with not only increasing strength, but also helping our bone mineral density. As we age, we tend to lose that. That's why, things like calcium and vitamin D are important to incorporate in our diet. And just outdoor activities, just being outside, enjoying fresh air, getting, trying to connect with reality versus just, staying inside and being on the phone. So some nutrition tips. Anybody recognize this guy there? So hunger occurs mainly when serotonin levels dip. That's the happy chemical in our brains, and it can cause a whirlwind of uncontrolled emotions. But also, it's mainly from blood sugar. When our blood sugar dips, that's when we tend to kind of be irritable and moody. So we want to focus on, and I'm going to put this list up right here. I think the first one is probably the biggest one, avoiding simple carbs and sugar. Sugar will satisfy us short term, but it's going to leave us feeling with less energy and feeling hungry in an hour or two. Because what it does, when we eat stuff with sugar in it, we tend to get a spike in our blood sugar. We feel good. And then about an hour or two later, we get that drop. I don't know if you've ever had an energy drink or a lot of candy, and then about an hour or two later, you feel like you can just fall asleep. That's a big drop in blood sugar. That's what we want to avoid. That's why we want to focus on the picture down at the bottom, although maybe not so much bread, but fruits and vegetables. Fruit, you're going to get natural amounts of sugar, but you're not going to get the processed amount. But you're also going to get fiber, which is going to keep your blood sugar levels elevated. You want to try to avoid too much caffeine. Obviously, if you drink caffeine throughout the day, you tend to build a tolerance, so it's not going to affect you as someone that drinks less. But they say you should, right around 2-3 o'clock, if you're working a typical day shift, you should cut out the caffeine, because it can affect, sleep levels. Alcohol is a depressant. It can also affect sleep. And certain foods can boost levels of serotonin, particularly, fruits and vegetables. So, when you guys, a lot of us are working, we're all working from home, try to avoid shopping when you're hungry, because you tend to buy things that you don't need. Focus on fruits, vegetables, nuts are excellent, pistachios, walnuts, even trail mix. Most trail mixes are good. Some have M&Ms and raisins, but those are good because they have a lot of fiber. Good, they have healthy sources of monounsaturated fat. Because the less sugar, the less you're going to tend to crave. So I have a short activity that we can all do. So breathing is probably one of the number one things you can do to help reduce cortisol level. So I want you to just sit, or you can lie down, whichever, probably be easier. Put one hand on your belly. And I want you to breathe in for about a count of 3 or 4 seconds. I want you to breathe in through your nose. You're going to feel your stomach expand, because this is we're using our diaphragm versus our lungs. And then you're going to slowly breathe out for a count of 3 or 4. So just take a deep breath in, take a deep breath out. All right. The mindfulness meditation. Some of you may or may not have heard what mindfulness meditation is. It's a simple type of meditation or mental training, if you want to call it that essentially involves using your mind to be in the present. So basically what mindfulness can do is it can help you understand thoughts, feelings, even negative ones that are transient. They come and go, but ultimately we have a choice whether to act upon them or not. Some people, when they hear mindful meditation, they envision the things below, which is actually what it's not. It has nothing to do with religion. It's nothing about success or failure. It's more about just blocking out any negativity, any distractions, and just focusing on being present, which, a lot of us, we tend to sometimes not be in the present. Phones are a huge distraction. And that's not to say we can't be on our phones at times. So the question I have for you, do you have a mind full? If you look on the left, you see the person has a bunch of, tasks on their mind. And then on the right is when they're actually connected with reality and taking their mind away from all the clutter. So other strategies that we can use for stress relief, you can read through those. Some people like art, some like to write. Although I don't know how much going to lunch we can do currently. You can play games with, family, friends. Reading is a big go-to for me. Going outside for walks, trying to do some at-home exercise. Really, it's all personalized, but basically anything you can do to take your mind off of anything that may be stressing you out. As we say, in order to come up with a solution, we have to first identify the problem. So everybody has different stresses and knows what those causes are. It's basically finding what you feel is going to work best for yourself. So here's some resources. You have the Employee Assistance Program. We have the magazine racks and all the sites. This stuff is also listed on ADP. Real Appeal, you may have heard me promoting that before. That is the 52-week virtual weight loss program where you get the whole kit you get an exercise band, DVDs, you get cookbooks, you get a food scale, you get a regular scale. I believe you get a portion plate, and then I believe towards the end of the program, you get a NutriBullet with it. It's an excellent program, not just for the goodies, but every week you're working with a virtual coach that can help you through different barriers and blocks that you have. But it's a great program. There's so many at-home workouts and apps, and I believe in 2 weeks when I present again, I'm going to talk about some of those apps that you can utilize, and also you can utilize your health coach. We'll pause for just a minute. Does anybody have any questions that they want to ask?
And guys, I think this is a small enough group where we can just unmute ourselves and ask the question.
Absolutely. And if not, you can also go ahead. I'm sorry.
Hey, Joe, thanks. This is Doug. Hey, is the Real
Doug.
Appeal open again just for open enrollment anytime?
It's open throughout the year, but you have to complete the health survey first. The one on Rally.
Yeah, no worries. I did it about 1.5 years ago. It was great.
I think in order to enroll for Real Appeal every year, you have to do the health survey for that year. So if you did the health survey last year, I don't think you can go on right now and just register for Real Appeal unless you did the survey for this year. That makes sense. Any other questions?
Well, you know what? I would like to, if there's no immediate questions here, I would love to hear what you all are doing to help yourselves with stress during this time period. Even if it's to piggyback on what Joe's already shared, or anything that might be different. Just love to hear what everyone's doing.
Want me to kick it off, Chris? I don't mind telling you what I've
You
been
go right
doing
ahead.
here.
Go right
I
ahead.
actually purchased, because the gym's been closed, and I obviously, don't have any room or access for dumbbells. I actually purchased one of those TRX systems. I don't know if you saw them. They're basically, it's basically you can attach it to a door. It's got like a latch that you close the door, and then there's two long, almost like tote straps, like you'd use when you're, tying stuff down in a pickup truck, and it has handles, and it comes with an app that you can utilize. It comes with a chart, and there's upper body, there's lower body, there's different exercises you can do, and it's all body weight, which is actually pretty neat. They're actually not really expensive. You can fold it up and put it in a bag, take it when you travel. So I've been trying to use that a few days a week and get out, every day, after I'm done at 5, go for about, a half hour to an hour walk. And, I've been doing a lot of reading in the evenings, basically anything I can do to kick the stress and anxiety till we get back to reality.
Nice. That sounds like you've got, actually, it's nice when you fill up your day with all of this. So that's great. I do have a question through the chat. Somebody wants to know, what is the cost for Real Appeal?
Real Appeal's free. There's no cost. It's only available though if you have the medical insurance through United, through Embraer. And all you have to do is complete the health survey on Real Appeal, and then there's no cost.
Okay, and then just curious, that how do people get to Real Appeal then? I mean, to Rally. Is it on the United Healthcare website?
Yes. So you're going to go to myuhc.com, and I'll send you the handout, Chris, after we can forward it out. You just go to myuhc.com after you log in with your username and password. At the top, you're going to see a bunch of tabs. You're going to click on Health Resources. That should take you to Rally. And when you complete your health survey, at the end, it's going to give you a Rally age. That's how you know you completed it. And then you would go to realappeal.com and you would sign up through there.
Okay.
But I'd probably give it about a day after you complete the survey, just for it all to register and go through.
Got it. And to make it even easier for everybody, we have the link to my UHC right on our homepage for ADP. So if you open up your ADP, it's the second link in the quick links. So you can click there, and I'm sure it's an easy follow. So good.
And then here's my contact information. If you guys have any specific questions, or you can reach out to me. I'm available every day, 9 to 5. And then obviously when I'm back on site, my hours shift because I go between Melbourne and Fort Lauderdale.
Sure.
Oh, and then we have the post-session survey.
Yes. So I'm gonna keep reading this chat because we've got a couple people that are popping in with the chat, which is great. But in the meantime, I'd like to just share with everybody. If you were on the session Wednesday or last Friday, you'll know that I really love to get your feedback on these webinars, and I've got this great QR code to do so. So if you've got your phone in your hand, just open up to the camera and face your camera towards this QR code, and your phone will automatically populate with this survey. So we'd like to hear what you think about the topic, what was shared today, but we also, very importantly, want to know what you want to hear next. I'd like to get everyone's feedback and hear what you'd like to hear from Joe in the next session. So please take, it's like 3 minutes. Actually, if you're taking more than 3 minutes to do the survey, you're doing it wrong. So just make sure to pop in there, give us your feedback, let us know what you'd like to hear next. But in the chat section, I've just got a couple that are really cool. A lot of people are interested in this program, Joe. I think we've gotten some new recruits for the Real Appeal. But I'm also seeing, so Breno, you said you've converted your 60-minute commute to a workout. So you're bicycling in every day, it sounds like. Is that right? Linda saying we're doing family walks in the evening and taking a lunch break in the afternoon or in the yard in the afternoon, which is awesome. Roberto said family walks during sunset and yard time for lunch, which is when my teenager goes for a 3-mile run. That's awesome. And Doug, you walk every morning and you're up to 7 miles each day. That's awesome. That's amazing. Very cool. Very cool. One thing I want to share with you guys is, and I'm trying this out for the first time tonight. My family is going to do family game night with a bunch of other groups of our friends that we've been dying to get together, but of course through all of this we're not able to get together physically. So tonight we are going to do our first game night through Zoom. So I'll keep you guys updated on how that goes. It could be, I'm sure no matter what, it's going to be a lot of fun. But as for the game part, it's going to either be a great success or a horrible failure. We'll see. But no matter what, it'll be a good time. So that'll be good. What other questions do you all have for Joe before we close for the day? And again, feel free to unmute yourself if you have anything that you'd like to share. All right, I think silence means that you're all content with what was shared today, which is great. Please make sure to do that survey. We want to thank Joe so much for putting this together for us. Very well, well done, Joe. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. So thanks for being here, and hopefully we'll see you again soon. Everybody just be on the lookout on Monday morning. We're going to be posting our next webinar, which is part of the leadership series. We're going to be doing a session on managing meaningful meetings. So that's actually directly from the surveys from last week. We found out that there's a huge number of people that would love to hear how to manage their meetings remotely. And so we've asked our expert on remote managing if he could pull something together for us, and he will. So that's going to be next Friday. So guys, thanks all. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Take care. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye,
guys.
Chris. Thank you. Bye, Joe.